cancer. So basically, the surgeon moves his this robot, all right, and localizes it at the place where the cancer cells are, or the deceased cells, and then he leaves it there for a while until the drugs just dissipate, all right, and kill the targeted cells.
Now this is the handle that moves it.
Yes.
Now what are all these steps?
There's one thing I wanted to tell also is that this system we built instead of getting a joystick or a normal controller, because this one has its own motors in it, which provide feedback control. So feedback for the haptic device. Okay, a haptic device is a controller that actually gives you feedback. All right. So if you, for example, localize the particle somewhere and then it hits an obstacle, they scale up the force that was hit for the particle to actually the human sensory range. So you actually feel what you've hit in real time and in real life, which is actually just the particle hitting somewhere in your body.
Now this is the parts related to moving the drug.
Yeah.
Now, what are the others? There are more machinery on the other side.
This is actually the magnetic system that controls the magnetic particle. All right. The movements is translated from this part, from this section to this section. Okay. Actually, what you're seeing right here is what is inside of you. You can't see it because it's, of course, on the micro scale. So that's why we use a microscope.
So actually, the drug is placed here?
Yes, that's exactly under the microscope. So if you can't move it and you can't see it, but you can with the help of the microscope, you can move, like, for example, 1 centimeter here, all right? Yeah. And then you move here for 1 microns to the right.
Now, my question is, this is just to compensate for the human body, because later actually on this will be within the human body, right?
Exactly. This is the proof of concept, and so far we've done a lot of research on it, and we've published several papers, and like Dr. Islam said, we've met great success till now, and we're hoping to even achieve more, maybe in vitro, and then hopefully in the future in vivo.
What about this machine?
This machine, as you can see, it's called the Helmholtz coils. It's these coils are used to control the helical robot in 3D. All right, so you can actually move it in all the directions. Okay, on opposite to this one, this moves only in the 2D. All right, and this one moves in the 3D, and it's actually under construction. This is a variable of the other system that's over there.
Yeah. So, but if it's done on a human being, would it be a machine like on the one on the other side?
Yes, because what we actually would like to do and what we aim at is having our systems all on a compact scale, okay, and not having like a huge MRI machine or whatever. We just want a small compact machine that's easy to use and very safe. All right. So basically, what you're seeing here is the project from Abdurrahman Usaya. Okay, he's actually in China presenting his papers on his research. This is actually a system called for controlling the helical robot. The helical robot is a robot is used to control the. This system is used to control the helical robot, which is based on biological bacteria already there. All right.
So would the operation be like when you're using a cath, so you'll make an incision and insert a cath with the project, like when we're doing echo or other things like that? Is it that's how it's going to be? Like you'll insert something like of this sort at the tip of it, the cure? How would it work? Do you need to do real surgery or just a small incision?
Actually, this part, it will be Dr. Nabila that's going to explain it, because she's the one that has been working on it, and I'd like to invite Dr. Nabila to come. Okay.
Would you join us? Come, step in, please. Dr. Nabila, would you please tell me more about the method itself of operation on the patients? Because it looks more like when the cath is used, you know, when or the echo or some of the most recent heart surgeries. Is it going to be something of the sort? Would you tell us more about how would the cure or the medicine enter the body? Yes, just allow me please to explain the concept or the idea of this project. Our aim is to use very small, tiny robots, the HeliMag robots, in order to destroy blood clots. You know that you have many, on the clinical level, many diseases that are related to the formation of blood clots inside veins or inside arteries, in general inside our blood vessels. And there are some treatments now, of course, approved, like the surgery or like injecting some chemicals, the chemical treatment. Our idea is to use these robots to introduce them inside the vessel where the blood clot has been formed, and then to through the rotation and the drilling by this robot, and our goal is to destroy this blood clot and to revascularize or allow the blood flow to circulate again through this vessel.
Now I have a question, doctor. Now, for it, would it require a real operation, or it can be a tiny incision just to insert the needle or whatever? If it's like here, I can see that it's a tube, almost like a cath, into the bloodstream, and then you watch it or through screens. How does it work?
The first trials, of course, that we have performed are still in vitro, and they were not conducted on patients. And the first trials, we simulated the blood vessel using this cannula. Yeah. This is cannula that can simulate the blood vessel, either the artery or the vein. And the idea is to introduce through a catheter. You don't need to have a complicated surgery, less invasive than surgery. And you can insert this through a catheter. You can insert this micro robot to the site where the blood clot has been formed, and then through this magnetic field, you can allow the micro robot to rotate and to drill and to destroy the blood clot. The first trials, as I mentioned, they are carried in vitro, and we are, of course, still working on this project, and we hope that at a certain time we will be able to implement it on patients.
Now, what's the next step? Would it be trying it on animals first, then on patients? So what's your steps? What's left?
Yes, we have actually several steps in mind, and based on the results that we had from the first trials, we are working on improving some conditions in our certain parameters, and maybe to add, in addition to this mechanical drilling, the effect of some chemicals. So you have both dual therapy, mechanical plus chemical treatment, and then, of course, the next step would be to try it on animals before moving to the human being, of course, on animals, and then ultimately, if everything will go fine, so we'll implement it on patients.
Doctor, now, for your research work, is this area the only part related to your research work, or the other sections behind us are also related?
For this project about the blood clots, this is mainly the area what we are using the robots here, and we are using the cannula. This is for us the blood vessel, and the magnetic field that will then direct the robot towards our target. For the other areas, I think Dr. Islam will talk more about the other fields.
Thank you very much, Doctor, and I return again to Dr. Islam. Dr. Islam, would you like to join us again? Sure. Yeah, so would you take us around to the other areas so that you can tell us more about your research work there?
Okay. Sure, please. This is our KUKA robot.
Yeah, I hold it.
Yeah, sure. It's been partially designed by Joseph. He's present here. And a student who just having her exam now, her name is Sarah Mokbil. She designed that robot. Actually, it's a reverse engineering process. So this is a well-known KUKA robot. So we performed some kind of reverse engineering to build that prototype in the lab.
I'd like to ask you more about the term reverse engineering, because I'm not into science. So just in case if there are any viewers who are not into science, so what's reverse engineering?
It means that this is not our design. So it's a German design from a vendor called KUKA Robotics. So, and this is one of their designs. So what we did is we just took the design from them, okay, and we started fabricating the same design instead of starting the whole process. Because our target here is not about designing robotic systems. Our target is to use that robot in some medical application, such as moving, let's say, micro-robotic systems throughout the spinal canal. So as you can see here, we have a robotic system. This robot soon will be, it's a prototype, of course. It has 6 degrees of freedom. What do I mean? You can move this way, you can move along that axis, so it can move in different directions.
So all the areas that have like joints,
yes.
movable
All these joints are movable, yes. So you can move in different along different axes, okay, and eventually you get 6 degrees of freedom for that arm, for this end effector. We call it end effector. We are planning on integrating an electromagnet here in order to provide magnetic fields throughout large workspace. And our application is, do you see that spine? Yes. We want to put micro robots on the spine here and move them without contact. That's what actually Joseph is working on. So I would like to introduce him, and I want him actually to describe his project, please.
Joseph, would you talk to me more about your design?
Yes, as Dr. Islam has introduced, this is the KUKA robot. It is its commercial name. It is available commercially. It's made of 7 links. This is the first link, second link, third link, fourth link, fifth, and the sixth. Sixth and the seventh link. There are 6 motors inside, and it can move in 6 degrees of freedom to direct the micro robots in the spinal cord or in the patient's body, okay, to target the cancer cells. Okay, so
I can see that the cath would be placed from the back here.
Yeah.
This is the cath here. Yeah, and then how would you inject it with all the bones and the veins? This is quite, isn't it dangerous?
This is a medical application. I'm not into the medical application so much, but the future application is to inject the microbodies inside the body, and to direct them through the KUKA robot. The KUKA robot can move along the body, around the body freely in 6 degrees of freedom. Okay, and to direct them using the magnet from where it is injected to the target cells. And this would be done all on computer. So the robot would take 2 images, the image of the current location where the microparticles are injected, and the image of the target cell. Okay, and it moves around the body to locate the microparticles in the target cells.
Now I have a question. This is mainly mechanical engineering, but do you need to do a bit of like biomedicine or any type of complementary studies so that you can do mechanical engineering work like here for the robotics that would suit medical purposes? Does that require a certain field of study, extra curriculum that you needed to add to your own personal measure?
I didn't study extra curriculum for medical purposes, but this application is under study all over the world now. The target therapy. It's not a new application. It is under study. So we're
you take the research.
We're working on the tools that would help this application to work better.
Now, how far in your research have you reached?
In my research, this is my bachelor thesis, and this is the first prototype for the KUKA robot. Okay, and we are doing the initial experiments on it.
Now, what's next? Once you do the initial experiments, is there a second step?
Yes, there is a second step. The second step is to give the robot 2 images: the image of the current location of the microbodies, and the image for the location of the target cells. And the robot would move by itself to localize the microbodies to the target cells.
Oh, Joseph, that's a lot of work, and that's your bachelor project.
Okay. Yes. I hope other students would complete the work after me, after I leave this.
Do you plan to make it your master's and PhD degree, or you have other plans?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You need to think about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, Dr. Islam, I'd like to ask you now, this is quite interesting because usually when you're conducting research work, usually the laboratories are quite secretive about it. But here you're open, you're showing us all the designs, you're not worried about the copyrights.
Yeah, we are not worried because the university is a non-profit organization, and also the lab is a non-profit organization. It's funded completely by the university, and as you know that the university and the lab, they have the same objective, which is teaching. So we are open to the society, we are open to other research groups. We are very open in the way that we collaborate with everyone. We provide our designs to everyone, and also everybody is actually doing the same with us. So it's like it's a win-win situation where you benefit from others and also you have to help others.
Finally, before we wrap up our segment with you, I'd like to ask you about your dream.
Well, I would like actually to take some of these projects, some of these designs outside the lab. So this is actually the dream of any researcher everywhere. He would like, let's say, to serve the community. So we would love to see these robots doing something that will help the country. So at someday I would love, let's say, to see my robots up and running somewhere and helping the community at any level.
Actually, this was quite an interesting interview. Assistant Professor of Robotics and Mechatronics, Dr. Islam Khalil. Thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you, Rasa. Thank you.
Now it's time for the Eye of Horus. It's time to head to Old Cairo to visit the Mosque of Amr ibn al-As.
Of Amr ibn al-As, also called the Mosque of Amr, was originally built in 642 AD as the center of the newly founded capital of Egypt, Fustat. Now the area is called Old or Coptic Cairo. The original structure was the first mosque ever built in Egypt and Africa. The location for the mosque was the site of the tent of the commander of the conquering army, General Amr ibn al-As. One corner of the mosque contains the tomb of his son, Abdullah. Due to extensive reconstruction over the centuries, nothing of the original building remains. The last of which in 1875 by Muhammad Ali. It consists of an open court with the ablution fountain in the middle, a shaded area for praying with the Qibla UN in the center. The only part of the mosque's older structure which can be viewed along the southern wall of the mosque. These were probably added during the reconstruction in 827 AD. joining me now is a Japanese researcher, Mr. Yoshi Iwami, and he is from Aisham, and now we learn from him more about the flood and disaster management. Well, Mr. Yoshi, would you talk to us about Aisham's project and the research it's contributing in this workshop, please?
Yeah. Okay. I'm from Aicham in Japan, and it is for the first time to our model will be applied to the arid region. It's very challenging, but we'd like to contribute to this region because I heard that there is nowadays a lot of flash flood in this region.
Now, you're actually contributing with the warning part or methods of warning and learning about the flash floods. So would you talk to us about that technology, the technology you have that helps us in knowing that a flash flood will be occurring beforehand?
Okay. So the ICHAM developed the flood early warning system. This is a kind of hydrological simulation model, and we used rainfall data at first, and when you input rainfall data into the model, then the model can calculate and forecast the discharge in the future. And the problem is how to get the rainfall data, real-time rainfall data. And we also thinking that using the satellite observation rainfall data.
Now, for training the expertise here in Egypt, the methods you'll be using, would you tell us what have you prepared for them?
Sorry?
The way you'll be teaching the trainees here in the workshop. So would you tell us more about the methods you'll be employing to teach them? Would it be all be about the research? Would you show them some of the results of some of the previous works? How would you do it?
So from tomorrow, we will organize a training workshop, and in this workshop we introduce our hydrological model, and also we are making practices for the participant. So the participant will operate our system by using our prepared data, so they can learn how to use our models.
Now that would mean that in Egypt, if we need to forecast it eventually, would we need to purchase that model from Japan, or can it be manufactured in Egypt? What would happen then?
Okay, so our model is, everyone can download from our website. This is a free model. So the model itself is not so complicated, and so maybe you can learn how to use the model easily.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Shukran.
In this segment of the Culture Review, we will be enjoying together a music concert held by بيت العود العربي. بيت العود العربي, the Arab Oud House Orchestra, held a music concert featuring more than 12 compositions from Egypt, Turkey and Iraq, along with solos on Oriental string instruments.
اوركسترا هي النهارده احنا كنا حوالي 32 عازف لكن هي اكبر.
بيت العود Orchestra was established by Nasir Shamma, who is also the conductor of the troupe. Today we were only 32 players out of 76 Egyptian and foreign musicians from all over the world, including Italy, France and Germany. We play the musical instruments without any singing. We use the different kinds of the oud and its string family, like the mandolin, the saz, the grand bass oud and the small bass oud, which were both created by Nasir Shamma.
ده اسمه العود الفاص، هو اقرب للكونترباس مش التشيل.
The troupe performed a variety of popular Arab songs like جدارية، بيت شلبية، لموني اللي غاروا مني، أهو ده اللي صار وادي اللي كان، and محمد عبد الوهاب's عاشق الروح.
أنا بداياتي في بيت العود مع أستاذ نصير شمة.
I joined Beit El Oud troupe 3 years ago. I learned about Beit El Oud courses from the internet. So I contacted Mr. Nasir Shamma, who accepted me as part of his troupe. I'm the first mandolin player to join his team. It took us 3 months of rehearsals to prepare for tonight's concert, also to coordinate between the different solo musicians and to switch between different music pieces in harmony.
لا احنا حفلات البروفات بتاعتها بتبدأ من شهور عشان نطلع الشغل الكويس ده والتوزيعات والهارموني اللي احنا عاملينها لازم نتدرب على البروفات شهور يعني.
As part of the concert, the troupe performed several music pieces by Nasir Shamma, who is most celebrated by giving the traditional oud instrument a more contemporary sound.
Of course, Beit El Oud Al Arabi is one of the distinguished oud establishments in the Arab world, founded by Nasir Shamma, the most important oud player for our modern time. So I was very keen to attend the concert. I'm very happy with the performance of everyone, especially with the variety of ages and experience of the music players. It was a privilege.
The troupe also introduced the youngest saz player in the Arab world, Salma Tamer, to the public.
I actually joined when I was 5 years old. I played it like the instrument. It's actually a folklore Turkish. So I bought it from there, and it's the only place to get it from. And I like it because it makes me feel better, like when I'm sad. Its name is Saz.
العود العربي, the Arab Oud House, was founded by Nasir Shamma in 1998 to establish a new generation of oud musicians and professional teachers, as well as establishing an Oriental orchestra. By this we come to an end of this episode of Nile Magazine. Until we meet again, it's goodbye.